everybody. This is another episode of Max One on One. Today I have another privilege, and this is one of the best guitar players ever. Like respected by all the musicians out there, all the rock and roll family respects this guy. Admire him also. Jimmy Bell, has been on the road for many years. He has played with many bands, and he also contributed with a lot of projects. Having said that, let's introduce him. Jimmy Bell, how are you, brother?
Max, how are you, my friend? It's great to
Good.
see you again.
You too, and thank you so much for your time. I, I'm a big fan of your shredding and your solos.
Thank you.
And also when I speak about you, when I talk to other guys in the rock environment, everybody respects you. You don't hear anything else but respect. People admire you. How are you?
I'm hanging in there the best as any of us are hanging in at the moment. I I have to be honest. I'm dying to get back on stage again. I pray to God every day, and I really do say a prayer every day that everything gets back on track soon, because I'm desperately missing the stage, as all of my friends are, all of my musician friends, and it's a real difficult situation. Maybe I didn't even say it in our last interview, but music is all I do. I don't work a day job. I don't do something else. It's music is all I do 24 hours a day, whether it's recording tracks for somebody, or working on material, practice, rehearsals, whatever. Anything to do with music is what I do full time, and that's the way my life has always been. I kind of like adjusted my life so I could do this. I've made some sacrifices that sometimes I wish I didn't do, but it's all part of it. But honestly, I wouldn't change a thing, because I really wouldn't know what to do other than play guitar, and I love playing guitar more than anything in the world. So if I'm not going to be incredibly rich, I'm going to be extremely happy. I'm just playing a real lot. I'm in writing mode right now as well. We have a new song coming out with Autograph, Souls on Fire. It was supposed to be released this month, but of course, with everything that's happening, I believe it's getting released in April. Everything is getting pushed ahead, just like the release of the latest House of Lords record. That was supposed to be released May 8th, and now I'm hearing it's going to be released in June. So, everything's getting pushed ahead a bit. But I've been writing constantly, so I'm playing a lot more, practicing all my normal lead techniques that I do every day. But I'm also working on a lot of songs, and all my writing is going for new Autograph material. That was one of the things when I joined Autograph that I was extremely excited about doing. Besides, how much, I love being with the guys and how much I love being on stage with them. I knew that after we played together that first time, that the band clicked and gelled so well that I knew that I was going to be able to write with them. And even before I went to California to do the audition, I already had a couple ideas written for them, and I actually didn't even have the gig yet. But that's the way I am. I just had my mindset. I said, okay, I'm going to write some songs for Autograph, because, I was pretty confident that I would do my best to get it.
That's awesome, Jimmy. That's awesome. So, yeah, before we talk about Autograph, I want to go, like very briefly across your career. I mean, it's impossible to be briefly, but, I want to touch some, milestones through your career. And, the first things that come to my mind is, Joan Jett. So
Yep.
you joined Joan Jett on tour. I mean, not to her
Yes.
band, but you were the opening act for Joan Jett in the mid 80s.
Yes. I believe it was 1984 or 85. A band I was with joined forces, an all original band from Connecticut. We didn't even have a record deal, but someone from Joan Jett's management team had taken us on. So he was partnered with a tour bus company, or a guy that owned a tour bus company. So we had an opportunity to go out on the road with Joan Jett. So we had our own tour bus, and we went out with Joan, and we did a whole East Coast tour with her, and it was amazing. I love Joan Jett like nobody's business. I think she's just simply incredible. And she treated me awesome. She really did. Her and I got along great. Then after we did that, the opportunity to perform, to play in the part of the Huns in the Michael J. Fox movie Light of Day came about, and we still had to like send in photos and everything, but we got it pretty quick. And that was my first experience of being in a national motion picture. And, great experience. I got to hang out with Michael J. Fox. He was actually, he did play guitar in that movie, as opposed to what he did in, he was just kind of mimicking things in Back to the Future, but he actually did some guitar playing.
Then another milestone in your career is Ozzy Osbourne, right?
Yeah.
So you got what was it? It was like a casting where he was, interviewing guitar players, and you and Zach Wilde got to the final stage. What happened?
Well, okay, so I heard there was like 500 guitar players that auditioned for this. They had kind of already started working with Zach, but I was with the Kramer Guitar Company back in the 80s. They were massive back then. I'm sure you know that. They had Eddie Van Halen was their big guy, Richie Sambora. They had everybody under the sun. So they sent a video out to Sharon Osbourne. She saw it and loved it. So they flew me to California. I auditioned with just the band while Sharon sat there. And, I did great. And then the next day, I went to a different studio and actually played with Ozzy on stage for about 5 songs. And then when I got done, Ozzy and Sharon, sat down with me, and they said that it was between me and Zach for the gig.
Wow. Yeah,
so that was a really, that was an amazing thing. Once again, Zach, when he was younger, he didn't look like he does now. He, looked like a young Randy Rhoads. He played a Les Paul and everything. And so, he was definitely, I think, a little bit more of what maybe they were looking for. I was left-handed. I was using the bar and everything, but I did a great job. I really did on the audition. And, for them, I mean, look, that's Sharon and Ozzy, they're very, especially Sharon, she's right to the point. If I wasn't even considered, they would have never sat me down and said, it's between me and Zach. They would have just said, hey, thank you very much, and sent me on my way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. A funny story in a restaurant with Ozzy and Shannon, right?
Yes.
Can you tell me that story? Because that's amazing. I love that story.
Well, they took me out to dinner, a very, very expensive restaurant. Everybody in there was, all the guys in there were in suit and ties. It had to be lawyers and doctors. And then in comes Ozzy with his entourage. And all of us. But they sat him right away. So obviously they know who Ozzy is. But he was a little messed up. At the time, he was still, a little bit. I don't know if he was partying or what, but he was a little bit out of it then. And I was eating, and then Ozzy, all of a sudden I see Ozzy's hand go into my salad, and he's just eating my salad with his hands and stuff. I thought it was pretty funny.
That was amazing. I love it.
It was great. And then we went back to Ozzy's chalet or whatever. I don't know what you want to call it, a bungalow or whatever he was renting there. And Amy, the oldest daughter, was there, and she was sitting on Ozzy's lap, and all of a sudden Paranoid came on MTV, And Ozzy was go, oh, Amy, there's Daddy. I mean, Amy was just real little, so it was just funny. But yeah,
Well,
it was a
mate,
great
that's
experience.
awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Jimmy. So, but then you joined the band from how do you pronounce his name? Geezer Butler.
Geezer, yeah, Geezer
Geezer.
Butler.
Sorry. I sometimes I mispronounce names. And then in that during that period of time, you were you the person who wrote the song "Master of Insanity"?
Yes.
You will see the master of insanity. Under the mask, there will be the master of
Yeah,
Wow.
that's my song. I wrote the entire song, except for lyrics, but I did come up with the title for it. Geezer asked me if I would be able to write a song. And Geezer was trying to do a little bit more of a commercial um, sounding music, heavy but commercial. And in fact, I have a version of a total different song called "Computer God," which was a song on the Dehumanizer record, but it's much heavier than what the version I did with him. But Geezer had wrote that, but he came up to me and said, "Do you know how to? Can you write a song that's kind of similar to Sabbath?" And I had just so happened I'd been working on something, and I gave him "Master of Insanity." I told him the title I thought of, and he wrote lyrics all around that. And then we recorded it. We had Jez Woodruff on keyboards. He wrote "Little by Little" and "Big Log" from Robert Plant. We had Gary Ferguson on
Very
drums,
cool.
who played with Eddie Money and the
Wow.
Hugh Thrall Project. Um, and then we had Carl Sentence singing, who has been the singer of Nazareth now for quite a while. He's also in Don Airey's solo projects that Don Airey does. So we had it was a great band. I did the song. I came home, and then that's when Geezer decided to go play bass with Ozzy for a while. So he was out on the road with Ozzy for a little bit, and about a few months later, I got a call from Gloria Butler, Geezer's wife, and she said, "Jimmy, I have great news. Black Sabbath's getting back together with Ronnie Dio,
Wow.
and we're going to be using your song, Master of Insanity."
Wow.
And I was like, I was all thrilled,
Oh,
I
that's
couldn't believe it.
amazing. That's
And then
amazing.
and then she dropped the bombshell on me. She said, "Well," um, she goes, "The problem is that we can't say that you wrote the song. We have to say that Geezer wrote it because Tony will never let a song from another guitar player on a Black Sabbath record."
Oh, I see. I see. I see. I see.
And I was like, oh my God, here was my chance to really get recognized. But it was just the way things happened. So I
Yeah.
wasn't going to argue with the situation. I was honored to have a song on there. She told me that they were going to pay me for the song when the tour
Okay.
was over. But the tour ended. I never got paid.
Oh
But
no.
but the best thing about it is I happen to be able to speak with Ronnie Dio um, at a show many years later, and I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, Ronnie," I said, "My name is Jimmy Bell," and he pointed at me. He goes, "Jimmy Bell, Master of Insanity," and I
Wow.
went like, "Oh my God!" I said, "You know?" He goes, "Yes." He goes, "I know you wrote the song." He says,
Wow.
"So he knew that I wrote it, and." He said, "I told them that they should just pay you. I don't know what the problem is." And, because Ronnie's a real great guy like that,
Yeah.
but,
Wow, that's a great. I was going to ask you if you had a story with Ronnie James Dio, and you just told me an amazing story with him. That's amazing. Yeah, because
yeah, the best thing about it is that night, I'll just tell you real quick, was he was playing at a big venue here in where I live in Hartford, Connecticut, that area. And it was supposedly a radio station meet and greet thing where you eat dinner with the Dio band. So in other words, a bunch of people won a contest to eat dinner with Dio um, and the rest of the guys. But once I was there, Ronnie and I were huddled in a corner for the entire time. He didn't even care about the other thing. I think he really wanted to take the time to explain to me what went on with that song and why it was like that and how bad he felt. And I never experienced anything like that where a guy of, of what he is, to take the time with me like that. And, so I have a song that I wrote with Ronnie James Dio singing on it, and you can't ask for anything better.
I'm amazing. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm with you with that. And then House of Lords. You joined House of Lords in 2005.
2005, I got a call from James Christian, and he was putting House of Lords back together, and he asked me if I knew how to write melodic rock songs. And even though I had never written a melodic rock song ever in my life, and I wasn't even sure what one was, I told him yes. I told him yes, I could do that. But it just so happens that I caught on very quick on how to do it. And our first record on Frontiers, World Upside Down, was a great success. It got great reviews, great ratings, everything, and it's been a great run with the band. I've had a lot of great times with House of Lords. I've played all over the world, and I've seen places, I've been to places that I would never have gone to.
Wow.
Or never had the opportunity to go with them.
What's the situation? You still with the band or?
Yeah, I mean, I am, but we have a new record coming out. But I guess the only thing is that House of Lords never toured enough for me.
Okay.
And that's nobody's fault really. It's just I'm looking. Let's put it this way: if the guys in Autograph tell me tomorrow that we're going to be on the road every single day of our lives, I'm there, and I don't have a problem doing it because I want to play every day.
Cool.
I don't have an issue being out on the road all the time.
Cool.
So, but House of Lords just, we would go out and we would do, go to Europe for a couple weeks, 3 weeks, sometimes 4. Mm-hmm. My best tour I ever had with them was in 2007 or 8. We did a month in Europe, came back home. Then I flew to Brazil. We did a week in Brazil.
Wow.
And came back home, and then we went to Europe for another month. So that to me was worth it. But the last couple times the tours have been very short, and then when we get home, it's okay. Well, let's get going on another record. It's like, oh man. I would rather be, stay out on the road for a little bit longer.
The opportunity came with Autograph because Autograph, it's all about touring, I guess, right?
Yeah, Autograph is doing everything that I've been wanting to do for a long time.
Wow, congratulations, man.
Yeah, and they're playing shows. They're with, we're with Big Time Entertainment, Sullivan Big. He's one of the greatest there is in the business. And he handles so many of the big acts, Vince Neil, Queensryche, Stryper, Vixen, Black and Blue, Great White. I mean, the list just goes on and on. And Slaughter, and that's how we seem to get packaged. Us, Kix, Kix is with Sullivan as well. So we seem to get some good packaging together.
Very cool.
Yeah, which is what you want to do,
Yeah.
I'd rather play those, I'd rather go on with, three or four other bands. I have no problem with that, and playing to a packed house. That's what.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So let me go back to the beginning of your first moment with Autograph. We both have. I don't know if you want to talk about it. We both have a good friend, Steve Lynch, right?
Oh yeah.
So he decided. Yeah, me too. So he decided to move forward with his life, and start a new band with his fiancée.
A month or two went by, and then I saw there was. I saw Steve make his announcement. So I said, you know what? Steve announced it, that he's leaving the band. I'm going to message Randy and talk to him. So I sent Randy a message, And I believe I told you, I said, Randy, I'm sure you're getting 1,000 phone calls right now, but I would like an opportunity to audition for the band. And Randy already knew who I was. He knew that I could play, and so did the other guys. Um, but, that being said, it wasn't like, oh, Jimmy wants a gig, he could have it. It wasn't like that. It was, I learned the stuff, and I did I did my homework. I did, he said to me also, he knows that I'm my own guitar player. I don't, like to play any solos of other people. I like to, do my own thing. I don't like to copy anybody. And he was very free with me about all of that. He says, the only song that, that we want you to do is Turn Up the Radio, obviously, because it's such a great solo.
Yeah, that's the anthem.
I mean, you can't not play Turn Up the Radio and not play the solo. It would, or something, so close to it, because it would sound foolish,
True.
It would be like doing Flying High Again by Ozzy and not doing Randy Rhoads' part. You know what I'm saying?
True.
It would
Yeah, definitely. There are.
I did that, but they gave me the freedom to do whatever I wanted to. And the other songs, the only other one that I really wanted to learn, because I really loved the solo, was Loud and Clear.
Wow.
So I did that, and I wasn't. Steve is a more of a tapper.
Yeah.
He does a lot of tapping technique, and my whole thing is picking.
Yeah.
So, but I did tap with do a lot of tapping with one finger. So at first, I had to figure out how to do, like in Loud and Clear. I had to figure out how to do this one section at the very end with just one finger, and it's a lot of movement because you got to bounce your finger all over the place because you're using one. Well, just recently, I don't even know how it came about. I started to be able to use two fingers.
Okay.
And the thing that's different is when Steve does his tapping technique, 9 out of 10 times he puts the pick in his mouth and then does the fingers. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to have to try and grab my pick out of my mouth, and so I have whatever I'm doing. I tuck it under my first finger, and then I tap not with my first finger. I tap with the middle and ring.
Oh, very cool.
Any of the two-handed stuff, two-finger stuff. That's what I'm using.
Very cool. Quick question: when you were learning this was something probably you had to learn, right?
Yeah.
Was your hands sore? Because
no, my hands don't get sore. You got to remember, I've been playing guitar.
Awesome.
Every day, every hour of the day since I was 14 years old. So many great guitar players out there that, that's why I find it real funny. Like if somebody says, oh, that guy's the best guitar player, ever. Well, that's not really the case. That might be your favorite guitar player that there is, but it's impossible to say that one person is the best guitar player.
Yeah, definitely.
Say that every guitar player that I hear has something to offer. And you can learn from all these people. They all have something to offer.
There's to me, music is art, and it's not a competition. This is not a football game.
The respect that I have for all my musician peers is incredible because, like I said, I'm still learning as a guitar player, and I have so many friends that are in, top bands. That I could still learn from, but they all have the same kind of respect for me as I have for them. You just gotta, you treat people the way you want to be treated. That's what you do.
That's excellent. I love it. Thank you, Jimmy. So I wanted to congratulate you because you were inducted for the New England Music, right?
Yes, New England Music Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Yeah.
So congratulations, and tell me how did that happen? You
I
know.
got the news when I was on the road with Autograph. We were doing a show with Stryper in upstate New York, and I saw a message in my Facebook Messenger from one of the gentlemen from the committee of the Hall of Fame, and he said we had a meeting and we would like to know if you'd be interested in being inducted into the New England Music Hall of Fame. And what was what was I going to say? No.
Jimmy, so I really appreciate your time. You know,
Oh, I love chatting with you, Max. You know
thank you.
that you and I could do this forever. It's
I know.
anytime you want to do one, you just call me.
Oh man, you're the best. I really respect you. You know, as a musician, as a person.
Just go for it.
Thank you so much. Anything you want to say to the fans?
Oh, I just want to tell each and every one of you that, well, once again, this could be aired at a different time, but I love all the fans more than anything. I miss all you guys, and we are going through some rough times at this particular moment, but everything will be back on track soon, and we cannot wait to be out performing for you all.
Give it up for Jimi Bell!